This is not a test. This is your emergency broadcast system announcing the commencement of Phatts TV, sanctioned by PA Phatts and the non-genetically proven son. Any and all words have been authorized during the show. There is nothing off limits. Nobody is restricted from watching and participating in the show. It is a free-for-all. Commencing at the siren, any and all discussions will be legal for an extended period of time. Sports, politics, and any and all controversial topics will be talked about. You have been warned. May God be with us all.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Phatts TV on this Thursday night, February the 4th, I believe. I think I have that right. Joining me, as always, on the upper left-hand portion of the screen, the non-genetically proven son. How's it going?
It's going.
Now, of course, after I went live, we usually go live for 5 minutes, just so everybody gets here. Somebody didn't tell me that they couldn't see me.
Sorry.
So he's flying blind tonight.
I got my monitor right here. We're all right.
Yeah, but you can't see it live.
This is true.
So in order for me to get it back, I would have to take the whole system down, restart the computer, blah, 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 blah. We didn't want to do that. So, Super Bowl preview night. Kansas City Chiefs, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So we're going to go over position strengths, who's got the better this, who's got the better that. We'll go over what we think is going to happen during the game, what we hope is going to happen during the game. We'll give our bets for the side and the total, and then we're going to give some proposition bets, because there's over 750 proposition bets for the game. Tons of them. And at least one of our bets has to be at odds of plus 200 or more. So if you were to win 100, or wager 100, and you win the bet, you get back 200 or more plus your 100. So, all right. So, the old guy versus the young gun. Kind of like me versus you.
Pretty much.
Pretty much. Is this Tom Brady's last stand, or is this where the baton gets passed to the next generation of a great quarterback?
I think that depends who wins the game.
Very good. Wow.
If he loses,
Very
he ain't passing
good.
no baton anywhere.
By the way, message board is live and operational. Should you wish to give us your predictions on the game, you can tell me who's going to win, what the final score is going to be, what you think is going to happen. I will say this. Depending upon where you play, meaning what book you play at, and I would always suggest having multiple books to give yourselves the best advantage. You could get 3. Kansas City is a 3-point favorite at some books. And some books you could get Kansas City as a 3.5-point favorite. Very interesting. It takes a lot, especially in the Super Bowl, to get the number to jump off of 3, because 3 is a key number. So I know it was 3 for this past week, but this afternoon it bumped up to 3.5 at some books. Now, all of our bets are going to be based off the line at Barstool Sports. That's our official place that we use for our bets. And that place has 3.5 at the moment. So that's the official line we'll use, but we'll say if the line was 3, would we have changed our bet at all? The over-under is pretty solid everywhere at 56 right now. So, first impression, non-genetically proven son, when you were looking through whatever you look through. I don't know how. Why don't you explain how you went about getting to where you got?
Well, the first place that I went, I went to ESPN on the phone app because they give you basic stats, kind of like a quick look at each team. And these teams are very, very identical, actually. They're within a point of points per game, within 3 in points allowed. They're within 15 yards of passing averages per game, within 20 yards of rushing averages per game, within 40 yards of passing allowed a game, and also within 40 yards of rushing allowed a game.
Okay.
So I wrote down these teams are very, very similar on paper. On paper.
Let's remind everybody that they did play in Week 12 at Tampa Bay. Kansas City won the game by 3 as a 3.5-point favorite. So they didn't cover.
And then I dwelled into NFL.com for some stats. And the difference between Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady is, again, minuscule. They had within 100 yards 107 yards different in passing yards this season. Tom Brady had 2 more touchdown passes, but he had 6 more interceptions. He had double the interceptions of what Mahomes did. Now, 3 of those did come last week against Green Bay.
Mm-hmm.
And I wouldn't say all those were his fault. But they still won the game, I mean.
They did.
So the other thing I went to look at, what website is this? ProFootballReference.com.
I use that site myself.
And I looked at defensive stats.
Uh-huh.
The Tampa Bay Bucks are number 8 in defense. And I heard a little stat, I don't know how true it is, that every time Tom Brady has won the Super Bowl, he's had a top 10 defense.
Okay.
Don't know how entirely true that is, because that would be a while to go figure that out.
that would be.
The Chiefs are 11. So Tampa Bay is slightly better defensive-wise.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I got all my information.
Okay. Just to go over the game that they did play against each other. I don't know if you remember, but that was the game that Kansas City jumped out to a very quick, I believe it was a 21-0 lead in that game. That was the game that their wide receiver Hill went off and he had like 200 yards receiving in like the first quarter. If I remember that stat correctly. Actually, Kansas City jumped out to a 17-0 lead after the first quarter. Tyreek Hill had a 75-yard touchdown reception and a 44-yard touchdown reception in the first quarter of the game. So, what other stats are we have here? Mahomes threw for net of 456 yards in that game. Tom Brady threw for 342 yards in that game. Teams combined for 960 yards. 960. I can tell you right now, there's a prop up that the total yards in the game is over or under 799 and a half. Take that for what it is. Kansas City had 1 turnover. Tampa Bay had 2. Kansas City with 10 penalties. Tampa Bay with 8, which is very high for the NFL this year. Kansas City had 50% third down conversions. Tampa Bay only had 33%. And Kansas City dominated time of possession 36 minutes, 47 seconds to 23 minutes, 13 seconds. So, if you remember, the game was wider than the final score would suggest. Tampa Bay scored 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter to make it a 3-point game. And that's how kind of Kansas City kind of played most of the year. You know, if you recall, they went 9 straight games without covering the spread against pretty mediocre teams. Let's go back and talk about those teams that they played. Let's see here. So, this one doesn't give the lines. Okay. So, I believe it started with when they played the Raiders, which they lost 40-32. They only had 2 losses this year. Once against the Raiders and once in Week 17 when they were resting all their starters. So, we won't include that game. They obviously didn't cover against the Raiders. Against the Bills, they won 26-17. I believe they covered that game. So it started the week after when they went to Denver. No, they won that game by a lot. Never mind. It started the week. I don't know when this happened. Week 9, they only beat Carolina by 2. They didn't cover there. Week 10, they beat the Raiders by 4. They didn't cover there. Week 11, they beat Tampa Bay by 3. They didn't cover there. Week 12, they played Denver again. They won by 6. They didn't cover there. Week 13, they played Miami. Won by 6. Didn't cover there. Week 14, played New Orleans. Won by 3. Didn't cover there. Week 15, played Atlanta. Won by 3. Didn't cover there. And then they didn't cover in the Chargers game where they lost by 17, and they were actually an underdog in that game. But once the playoffs started, they were a whole different team. They played a really good first half, if you remember, against Cleveland. Then Mahomes got hurt in the third quarter, so we can't really look at the second half of that game. And then in the championship game against Buffalo, they let Buffalo get out to a quick 9-0 lead, and then they scored like the next 36 points or something, 30, 33. I think it was 35 to 6 or something like that after it. And then they let Buffalo score again towards the end of the game. So let's look at some position by position. Again, non-genetically proven son, if you would please watch the message board should anybody happen to say something.
I am.
Okay. Has anybody said anything yet?
No.
Okay. Let's start with the defenses and a little Super Bowl history here. The team with the most yards in the Super Bowl, as you would expect, is 41-13 straight up, which to be expected. The team with the better defense has won 44 of 54 Super Bowls. So you kind of want to look at who has the better defense in this game. Who has the better defense? You're the one that looked at the stats, non-genetically proven son.
Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay has the better defense in this game. You said they have the 8th ranked defense. The stats that I show say they had the 7th ranked defense. Big deal. Kansas City, I show, had the 15th ranked defense.
And I had 11th.
Okay. So depending upon the factors that you're looking at, you get different results. Kansas City, though, had the number 1 offense, and Tampa Bay had the number 5 offense. Tampa Bay limited 6 opponents to their season low in yards, which is pretty impressive. Kansas City only limited 2 teams to their season low in yards. Tampa Bay gained either their season high or their second high against 5 opponents. So meaning you take Tampa Bay played Chicago earlier in the year, in which they lost to Chicago 20-19. It was on a Thursday night. So you look at all the teams that Chicago played, and Tampa either had the high or the second high, looking at the other team's defense, and 5 of them. The Chiefs, surprisingly, was only 4. You would normally think with the number 1 offense that they would be getting season highs against other teams' defense a lot more than just 4. Interesting. Rushing. Statistically, teams that have the more rushing yards in the game win, which again makes sense. They've won straight up 40 and 13, and there was one, the Atlanta New England Super Bowl. They actually both had 104 yards. Kansas City is 11-0 straight up in games that they've rushed for 100 yards or more. They're 5-2 straight up when they haven't rushed for 100 yards or more. Tampa Bay is 8-1 straight up when they rush for 100 yards or more, and 6-4 when they do not. So it's more prevalent for Tampa to get to the century mark than it is for Kansas City. Coaches and quarterbacks. Obviously, nothing needs to be said again about Andy Reid. He's going to go down as one of the best coaches in NFL history. He's the only coach to lead 2 different teams to 3 straight home games in the championship series. He did it with the Eagles, and now he's done it with Kansas City. Brady, second quarterback ever to win a championship game in both the AFC and the NFC, joining Craig Morton. That's an interesting trivia question. When he did it with Dallas and Denver, needless to say, a little while back.
Sad part is Tom Brady has as many NFC titles now as Aaron Rodgers.
That is true. He's only the 3rd quarterback ever to play in a Super Bowl over 3 decades. Who are the other 2? Johnny Unitas and Norm Van Brocklin. Again, obviously we're going back in time.
So certainly not who it was on my mind. I was thinking Peyton Manning or something like that.
Mahomes, 25-1 in his last 26 starts. Mahomes has directed 13 drives in the playoffs this season, not including kneel downs, and the opposing team has stopped him from scoring a touchdown or attempting a field goal once. How's that for a stat? 13 drives in the playoffs, not including kneel downs, and you've either scored a touchdown or at the very least attempted a field goal 12 out of those 13 drives. That's pretty phenomenal. That's pretty phenomenal. That is really phenomenal. Which the one that didn't happen was the first drive against Buffalo when Tyreek Hill dropped a pass and he was wide open going down the sideline. So if he catches that pass, it's probably 13 for 13.
Well, it would be.
Yes. Now, the question is, though, on the injury report, both of Kansas City's starting tackles are out of this game. So how is that going to affect things? Who knows? Have to wait till Sunday to find out.
Take it. The 2 defenses that the Chiefs played were not better than Tampa Bay. Not by a long shot.
Yeah.
I have the Bills at 16 and Cleveland at 21.
Yeah.
So, however you want to take that.
Yeah. Washington had a good defense. New Orleans was a really good defense. And Green Bay's was a little slightly better than average.
Green Bay is 13. Washington was 4. New Orleans was 5.
Right. So, Certainly, Tampa's been playing against the better defenses in the playoffs. Common denominators. Both teams faced each other's divisions this season. Factoring in common sites for duplicate meetings and using the playoff game in which Tampa played at New Orleans, they were a total of 6 common games and sites between the two teams. The Bucks went 6-0, 5-1 against the spread, plus 428 yards. The Chiefs went 5-1 straight up, and 4-1 against the spread. Net yardage minus 53. Interesting. So, basically what they're saying is each team played the other team's division in the cross conference. I'm sure all of you know that one division in the AFC will always play one division in the NFC each year, and it rotates each year. And this was the year that the AFC West played the NFC South. So they all met each other. So it's interesting, in common opponents, the Chiefs with the number 1 offense had a negative net yards. Interesting. While Tampa Bay was plus 428 net yards. Very interesting. Why are they saying edge Chiefs, though? 6 common games. Oh, okay. Meanwhile, Kansas City tackled 5 squads, playoff teams, playing a total of 6 games, which they went 6-0. So against playoff teams, Kansas City didn't lose, with a total net yards of 1,013. Tampa Bay met 5 playoff teams. They met a couple of them twice, so they ended up playing 9 games against playoff teams. They only went 4-5. Net yards at negative 83. So against common opponents, Tampa Bay was much better than Kansas City. Against playoff teams, Kansas City's miles ahead of Tampa Bay. Interesting. Stats that matter in the game. Turnover differential, Tampa is plus 8. Kansas City is plus 6. No real advantage there. First quarter points differential. Tampa's minus 12. Kansas City plus 24. So that means Kansas City has scored 24 more points in the first quarter than they've given up. Tampa has given up 12 more points in the first quarter than they've scored. Red zone offense, so from the 20-yard line in, Bucks are 5th, Kansas City's 10th. Interesting. Red zone defense, Tampa's 19th, Kansas City's last, 32. Short yardage rushing, Tampa's 1st, Kansas City's last. Interesting. Short yardage defense, Tampa's 21st, Kansas City last. Lots of lasts here for Kansas City. Kind of interesting. Net penalty yards, Tampa plus 17, Kansas City minus 11.8. By the way, Steve Spagnuolo, who is the defensive coordinator for Kansas City, don't know if this will mean anything to Tom Brady, but I'm sure Tom Brady is going to know this. He was I believe, the defensive coordinator when they lost their perfect season to the Giants many a year ago. Interesting there. Giants were the only other 5 seed to reach the Super Bowl. They beat Tom Brady, 12-point underdog. Spags happened to be... Yes, Spagnuolo was the Giants' defensive coordinator in that game as well. So there's just some things, positions. Quarterback-wise, Mahomes is the better quarterback. Stats-wise, they're close. Rushing game, not even close. Tampa Bay's better. Offensive line, it's really hard to say with Kansas City's 2 injuries to their tackles. Defensively, if you go back and listen to Bruce Arians after they lost to Kansas City, he blamed the loss on them not being able to handle their blitz in that game. So we'll see what changes get made. But all around, Tampa has the better defense at just about every position, if not every position. Place kicking, somewhat the same. I believe Tampa Bay's place kicker has missed one more extra point than Kansas City's. Interestingly to note, Kansas City's field goal kicker is 5 for 5, 50 yards or longer. Interesting. Very interesting. So, non-genetically proven son.
Yes.
How do you see this game unfolding?
Well, based on all your little stats there,
Yes.
I wrote down, first bullet point, I think both teams are going to throw the ball a lot.
As they did in the first game
Exactly.
when they played each other.
Um,
We'll see if that comes up as one of your prop plays then.
As you already mentioned, Tampa Bay's rush defense is very, very good. As I've already mentioned, they give up less than 100 yards a game on average.
Yep.
So I think, and you probably got the best quarterback in the league, easily. So why not use him?
Yep.
And then I think Tampa is going to have to do something very similar. I think Tampa throws the ball a lot, but not downfield a lot.
True.
I could see a lot of 5, 10, 15-yard passes where I could see Kansas City going long, let's say longs over 30 yards. 5, 6, 7 times, at least in that game. So I have the game kind of coming down to defense and turnovers.
Okay.
Turnovers just because Brady does have 12 interceptions. So whatever you want to take into that.
Mahomes, I believe, has 6, if I remember correctly.
Huh?
Mahomes, I believe, has 6 interceptions.
6, yes. I think the game will be very, very close throughout the whole game.
Okay. Don't give me your winner yet.
Okay.
But how do you see it unfolding? Like, do you see a team having an advantage more in the first half or in the second half? Or
I can see Kansas City getting out to a little early of a lead in the first couple quarters.
Okay.
I could see it maybe getting to like 13, but I don't think it'll swell anything over 10. And then I think the Tom Brady of just the playoffs will start coming out.
Okay.
And he'll make the game closer, and it'll come down to like the fourth quarter, last couple drives.
Okay. All right. So just to go back to that first game that they played, Mahomes was 37 for 49 for 462 yards. Tom Brady was 27 of 41 for 345 yards. By the way, Tom Brady, I believe, is completing less than 60% of his passes this year.
It's something like that.
Not Tom Brady-like. It's like right around 60%.
Let me give you a thing. Let me find it. Ugh. Come on, where is it? There it is. You're not gonna... 65%.
Oh, I thought it was lower than that. I thought it was in the 60s.
Mahomes is
Low
66.
Huh. Okay. I take that back then. Normally, for the Super Bowl, I could see how the games are going to go. This one, I'll honestly say, has me perplexed a lot. Tom Brady has a history of starting slow in Super Bowls. In fact, of all of the Super Bowls he's been in, which I believe this is his 10th,
Yes.
the first quarter over has only cashed once. And that's when they lost to the Eagles a few years ago.
So that means 17-14 after the first quarter.
So, I think this is going to be a rather close game myself. I won't tell you who I think is going to win yet. And I do think a team is going to get out to a lead. Let's just assume for a moment I'm talking about Kansas City. Gets out to a lead. They normally take their foot off the gas when they have a lead. Let's face it, that's what they've done all year long. If they've had the lead, especially a large lead, they kind of just lose interest in playing the game. Very surprising for an Andy Reid team. Conversely, when Kansas City is losing the game, they look like the best team that's ever been on a football field. There's just something about them losing a game that makes them go nuts and score and score and score. So that's kind of what's confusing me in this game. I have to try to figure out who's going to have the lead in this game. Is Tampa going to have the lead? They are playing in their home stadium. Not a lot of fans. Are they going to get a lead and all of a sudden Kansas City plays, like Kansas City has the ability to play? Or is Kansas City going to get the lead and let their foot off the gas and let Tampa Bay back in the game? Who knows? I have no idea what's going to happen. I do think it will be a rather higher scoring game. Playoff-wise, Kansas City has been averaging over 30-some-odd points a game. And I can't see Tampa scoring less than like 27 in this game. So, to me, that points to an over of 56. I don't like it enough to play it, but if you forced me to play it, I will play the over. What about you? What do you think for the over-under?
Under.
Under. Okay. Why?
50 cents.
Why?
Like I said, I think there'll be a lot of passing, but I don't think there'll be a crap ton of scoring.
Okay.
I think it'll be a lot of drive start on the 20, they get out to like the opponent's 40, and then they stall. And it just, that kind of keeps happening because, the clock's going to stop a lot.
Okay.
With Theory. I think there'll be actually a lot of incompletions.
Okay.
The only thing that has me worried is the secondary for Tampa. Can they keep up with the receivers?
Yeah, and like I said before, Hill had, I think it was 269 yards in their first game.
Yeah. If they could basically eliminate the long ball, I think this actually stays very low.
Okay. Okay. Good enough for you to play it or not?
I don't like this game.
Okay. So, as you were going through your prognostication, I went and looked. The 60% for Tom Brady comes in his last 5 playoff games, he's completing less than 60% of his passes. So that kind of goes in to what you just said. that there could be a lot of incompletions in this game. Although, Tampa Bay has scored 30 or more points in 6 straight games, and at least 24 points in 10 straight games.
Good for them.
Yes. Yes.
Do they want a cookie?
And that's with, again, them playing against superior defenses compared to Kansas City.
Yes.
So I'm trying to see if they're talking about Kansas City in this article. The last 7 times Kansas City has played on the road, they've scored a minimum of 26 points.
Okay.
To me, this has all the indications of an over.
Okay.
All right. So, what about a side? Do you like a side in this game? And then give me what you think the final score is going to be.
I like Tampa Bay to cover.
You like Tampa Bay to cover. Now, using 3.5, you like Tampa Bay, obviously.
Yes.
If the book you play at is only 3, do you still like Tampa Bay?
Yes.
Okay. All right. You want to give me a score?
Well, my final score, Tampa Bay, 24. The Chiefs, 22.
Okay. So you have Tampa actually winning the game.
I have Tampa late, either down 1 or whatever, down late, and end up winning the game by 2.
Okay.
So whether that is they're down 1, get a field goal, they're down 5 and get a touchdown and an extra point. They wouldn't go for an extra point, but either way.
Okay.
I would more put it, they're down 22-21 and they need a field goal to win.
Okay. Do you think that's going to be the last play of the game? Let's face it, Tom Brady has won more than one Super Bowl on a field goal the last play of the game.
Oh, he's won on an interception like the last play of the game, basically, too. I think it's possible, but I don't... If it's not, there'll be less than 30 seconds.
Okay. I'm asking because there is a prop play out there. Will the final scoring play happen with 0 time left on the clock?
I know there's that prop
Yes.
play.
Well, I know you know that. I'm talking for our...
I read through all 600 of them.
All right. So, obviously, I think it's going to be a higher scoring game because I tend to favor the over here. Again, though, I'm very confused on what I think is actually going to happen in this game. So, as I've said before, and I've been saying this for 15 years at least, and this is probably why I don't make a lot of money betting. When in doubt, you always take the points. So I'm going to take Tampa Bay as well. And I'm going to pick them to win as well. 35-33.
Well,
So we both have a close game. What?
We finally disagree.
Yes. Yeah, we've been agreeing a lot in the playoffs. So we agree on the team, but we disagree on the over-under.
Yes.
So I'm going 2-0 and you're going 1-1.
Okay.
So we both think, though, Tampa's going to win the game. We think the old guy is going to outplay or outscore the heir apparent.
And then he's hanging up the jersey after that.
You think he's going to retire, do you?
I think so. I think he wants to end on a Super Bowl.
It would be hard to pass up. I will say if he loses this game, he's not retiring. Definitely.
There's no way.
Definitely. If he wins this game, yeah, he might. He might go out. Be interesting. Listening to him, though, he still loves the game. So, we'll see. We'll see. All right. So, neither of us, it sounds like, are going to play the side or the total in this game.
If you made me play, I'd probably end up playing the side before I played the total.
Okay. I will not be playing either. But what I am going to be doing during the game is a bunch of live betting, sides and totals. I'm going to hope that the first quarter is rather low scoring again, like most Tom Brady Super Bowls are. So we're going to find out, is this a Tom Brady thing or was that a New England Patriots thing? That the score is low after the first quarter. I mean, the vast majority of the 9 Super Bowls, the score was either 0-0 or 3-0 at the end of the first quarter. Which, by the way, if I remember correctly, the first quarter over-under is 10.5 in this one. Usually it's 9.5. This time you're getting 10.5. So, if I could still get good odds at 10.5, I'll play the under in the first quarter as well.
I would be looking for the Chiefs to get up like 10-0 early, and then put something on Tampa Bay when you're getting 6.5, 7.5.
Okay.
For the rest of the game.
If the Chiefs are up 10-0 early, I'll be getting more than 6.5 for live betting. I can tell you that. I'll get 7.5.
Yeah, 7.5, 8.5.
Which at that point, yes, I will definitely put money on Tampa Bay. If it's a low-scoring first quarter, like I'm hoping, I will put money on the over, because you got to figure it'll fall to something like, let's just say it's 3-0 at the end of the first quarter.
Right.
You're going to have an over-under somewhere around 44 or 45 at that point, live betting. I'll hammer the over at that point.
You hammer the over.
I'll hammer the over at that point. And you know what? You would too at that point.
If what happened is what's happening, what I said is going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
If where there's a lot of throwing but not a lot of completion, so it's only 3-0.
Mm-hmm.
We all know Mahomes could probably get 40 receptions this game if he had to.
40 completions, yes.
Yeah, sorry, 40 completions this game if he had to.
Mm-hmm.
So I see that could happen, but I don't know if I see the first quarter being 3-0 either.
Okay. All right.
I could almost see the first quarter being like 13-3.
Okay. Well, then I'm not going to be doing very well.
But then the rest of the game will be not much better.
I'm going to assume, though, if it's 13-3, you're thinking it's Kansas City with 13.
Yes.
Okay. Looking at Tampa Bay has yet to play a game this year with an over-under of that high. They had a 54, which they pushed against Detroit the day after Christmas. They had 2 53.5s. One went over, one went under. They had a 53 that went over, a 52.5 that went under, another 53 that went under as well. Kansas City had one game at 56 that went under. They had one game at 57.5 that went over. The vast majority of Kansas City games, the over-under was in the 50s. The vast majority of Tampa Bay games, the over-under was in the 40s. So, I think you're at a little bit of an advantage. Because let's face it, this is the one game where people who only bet once or twice a year, this is the game that they bet. And everyone likes to see points. There's not too many people that are going to go into a sports book, whether it's in Vegas or Atlantic City, if you could bet. Yeah, you could bet on Atlantic City, or Pennsylvania, or whatever states allow it. And I'm going to say, I'm rooting for that 17-14 game. So, the odds makers know this, so the line is a tad bit inflated. Especially because they played only to 51 points the first game. But be that as it may, I'm still going to think that the over is there. All right, so prop plays. As we talked about, there's a ton of them. A ton of them. Now, let me say a couple things about prop plays. Each book, a lot of them have the same prop plays, but some books have other prop plays that other books won't have. And I will talk about one that isn't there at Barstool that I wish was there at Barstool.
Well, this will be the one I'm about to say.
No, I'm sure it's not.
Okay.
In fact, I know which one you're going to say. And no, it's not. Mine's actually talking about the game.
Oh, yeah, mine doesn't have to do with the game.
But I know you could find this at other books. So, again, it's really good to have more than one out when you're playing. Have multiple books. If you live in Pennsylvania, by all means, have something at Barstool. Have something at Fox. Have something at FanDuel. Have something at DraftKings. Have something at Sugar House. Have something at, what's the one up at Pocono? Who are they affiliated with? I forget. It's good to have all these out. Or just pick 3. It's a good thing to do. Especially if you've never played at them before. This is the time to do it because you're going to get major buku bonuses for opening an account for the Super Bowl. A lot of them will give you like a $200 risk-free bet if you deposit $200.
Oh, trust me, I wanted to open a new FanDuel account because you got plus like 55 to 1 odds or something.
Yes, but I think the most you could bet on that is it's no more than $50.
I would have put 5 on it. It's a free $200.
You have to pick the winner of the game.
Yes. So make 2 accounts, put one on Tampa, put one on...
You can't make 2 accounts.
2 different emails, come on now.
No, because you need to give them your driver's license. You need to give them ID. You need to give them your social security number. Because don't forget, in the United States, this is taxable income.
That's true.
Dumbass.
Damn, I'm getting taxed.
So.
Tax forms are going to be fun this year.
Yeah, don't remind me. So, what do you guys think? Again, message board is live and operational. What do you think is going to happen in this game? I'm very interested to know what you guys think. Let's go over some historical prop plays before we get to the ones that we like. I just want to go over a few here, and we're looking at the last 11 Super Bowls. Coin toss. The team winning the coin toss the last 10 years has deferred, which that's the going trend in the NFL, is to defer if you win the coin toss. New Orleans in Super Bowl 44 was the last team that won the coin toss and chose to receive. So keep that in mind. But we'll talk about that in a little bit.
Wait, New Orleans in 44?
Super Bowl 44.
Who did they face?
Indianapolis.
They started the second half
with an onside kick.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes. First play of the game. Is it going to be a run? Is it going to be a pass? Or is it going to be other? Other includes penalty, by the way. The last 11 Super Bowls, run has happened 4 times, pass has happened 6 times, and other has happened once. Does anybody remember what the other was?
The safety.
Yes, I remember because I had money on it.
Yeah, it went straight over the quarterback's head, and it was a safety.
Yes. Yep.
Couldn't tell you what Super Bowl that was. I think the Broncos were in it.
That was the Broncos-Seattle Super Bowl. Super Bowl 48, which Seattle destroyed the Broncos. 43-8. So yes, Denver had a 2-0 lead. Or Seattle had a 2-0 lead.
Proud of them.
Yeah, sorry. Seattle had a 2-0 lead. Denver ended up scoring a touchdown and getting a 2-point conversion in that game. Yeah, back then I used to play the safety to hit every game because you were always getting 8-1 odds. And in fact, there was 3 Super Bowls in a row where there was a safety in the last 11 years. 3 of them in a row. All right, so pass is a little bit hitting a little more than the rush. Here's an interesting one. Team to score first wins the game 8 times over the last 11 years. Last year was one of those no years when San Francisco scored first against Kansas City. Teams to score last won the game 10 out of the last 11 years. So that might be an interesting prop if you could find it at decently low odds. A lot of shops that's getting up to like minus 190, minus 200 now. And I don't want to lay like $100 just to try to win 50 on that. But be that as it may, the team to score last has won the game 10 out of the last 11 years. Will there be a score in the first 6 minutes of the game? This is going to be one of the prop plays that I did play. So we'll talk about what I did later. The yes has only scored 3 out of the last 11. No has covered 4 straight years. But this year you have Kansas City playing.
You had Kansas City playing last year too.
You did. You did. And it was still a no. Will there be a score in the last 2 minutes of the first half? 7 out of the 11 years, it's been a yes. Interestingly enough, the last 2 years has been a no. And if you like the no, you could get plus, this place has it at plus 250. So, for $100, you can get back 250. That's not bad. 2.5 to 1. That's not bad. Will there be a score in the last 2 minutes of the second half? No has covered 6 out of the last 11, so it's pretty similar. Safety, we talked about a little earlier. It happened 3 straight years. Super Bowls 46, 47, and 40. Actually, it happened, yeah, three straight years, 46, 47, 48. Hasn't happened since. Will a team score 3 unanswered times? Could be field goal, not including extra points. Extra points don't count. So they could score 2 field goals and a touchdown. They could get 3 field goals. They could get 3 touchdowns. They could score 3 safeties. They just have to be back to back to back. Interestingly enough, that's happened 7 out of the last 11 Super Bowls. Interesting. Will there be a defense or special teams touchdown? Interestingly enough, that's happened 6 out of the last 11 Super Bowls. But the last 3 years, it hasn't happened. 2-point conversion attempts. So just an attempt. It's happened 7 out of the last 11 Super Bowls. A 2-point conversion has happened 5 out of the last 11. So there you go. Missed PAT. It's only happened twice out of the last 11. The last 2 years it hasn't happened. Again, though, this year, I believe between the 2 kickers, they've missed 11 extra points. So, you're getting more than plus 200 to put a yes on that, so maybe. Will there be an overtime? That's almost all but a guaranteed no. There's only been 1 overtime in Super Bowl history, and that obviously was the greatest comeback in Super Bowl history. And I remember where I was during that game. You were with me, and I had a decent amount of money on New England. And for 3.5 quarters, I figured I lost.
I still don't think he was in.
He was in.
They didn't review it.
He was in.
Obviously, they would have scored, but I still don't think he might have been fully in.
Both teams to make a field goal of at least 34 yards has happened 5 out of 11 times. Will at least one quarter be scoreless? It's happened only 3 out of the last 11. I'm sure New England was in those 3 Super Bowls, and they were. Game decided by exactly 3 points. It's only happened once in the last 11 Super Bowls. That's when Baltimore beat San Francisco in a great Super Bowl, if you remember, 34-31. Will there be a field goal made in the first quarter? Has happened 5 out of 11 times. The longest touchdown, I believe this year, is 30 some odd yards. I think it's 38 yards. That's happened 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of the last 11 years has there been a touchdown of at least 38 yards. Highest scoring a half, it's happened 3 out of 10 has been the first half, 7 out of 10 has been the second half, and 1 was exactly tied, 38 in each half. That was, 19 in each half. That was the Giants-New England Super Bowl, when the Giants won 21-17. Will the total combined score be odd or even? Surprisingly, odd, which is always the better odds. For those of you statistics junkies, an odd result when you're adding 2 numbers statistically comes out more times than it's even, statistically speaking. But in the Super Bowl, it's only happened 3 times out of the last 11 years. Same thing with the first half score. It's only happened 3 times out of the last 11 years. It's been odd. So you're getting plus money on evens. Will the first touchdown be either a pass or something else? 6 times it's been a pass. The last 2 years it's been a run. Combined quarterback sacks over 3.5. That's happened 8 times out of the last 11. So that could be a potential play depending upon what odds you're getting. Shortest touchdown being under 1.5 yards. It's happened 6 times out of the last 11. And we'll do one more. Combined lost fumbles of over 1.5. That's happened 4 times out of the last 11. So those are the main props that you see on every place that you see. So we'll go over our plays now. And I do want to talk about one that's not on Barstool that I wish it was, because I would play it. So I got to find another book that is going to play it, that is going to have it. And that is which team is going to get the ball first. Now, interestingly enough, I have said that 10 of the last 11 years, the team who wins the coin toss defers. So basically, I think Tampa Bay is getting the ball first in this game. Kansas City always defers when they win the coin toss. So, 4 things could happen. Kansas City wins the coin toss and they take the ball. Kansas City wins the coin toss and they defer. Tampa wins the coin toss and they defer. Tampa wins the coin toss and they take the ball. Interestingly enough, if you go back and look, in week 16 and week 17, Tampa Bay won the coin toss and chose to receive the ball. So I'm just going to take a chance and say that if they win the coin toss, they're going to choose to receive the ball. And that, to me, actually makes a lot of sense, because you're going to want to, at least in the first half, slow the game down. Because remember what happened the first time they played? Kansas City scored 17 points in the first quarter. So definitely if Kansas City wins the coin toss, Tampa gets the ball first. And I think there's about a 62 to 63% chance if Tampa wins the coin toss, they're going to choose to receive. Okay? Now, I know you are going to take a bet on the time of the national anthem.
Yes.
Okay?
I heard 128 seconds, 129.
So 2 minutes and 8 seconds?
Yeah, something like that.
Oof, that's actually a very long song.
It's two people.
Okay.
It's a guy and a girl.
Okay.
The girl is a pop artist and the guy is a country singer.
Okay. Interesting.
I was going to hammer the under. Hammer that under.
Gonna hammer the under. Typically in the Super Bowl, it usually comes in at around 1:53 seconds.
It was over 2 minutes. I can tell you that.
Okay.
It was over 2 minutes. Maybe it was only like 2:02.
Okay.
But I know it was over 2
Well, then
minutes.
you're still getting like 9 seconds over the normal.
Right.
And I'm going to assume the odds are basically the same whether you're playing over or under in that game.
Probably. I was just told them by my roommate.
Okay. All right.
He just told me what the over-under was.
All
I was just like,
Again, message board is live and operational. You guys want to tell me what you think is going to happen in this game? I'm surprised it's quiet tonight. Is anybody out there going to play the coin toss?
I think the coin toss is the dumbest thing to play.
Actually,
It's a straight 50-50.
Actually, it's not. It's not.
All statistics mean jack. on the
It
coin
is
toss.
not statistically 50-50.
Okay,
It's about 52-48.
Oh, whatever.
I'm going to
Let's
tell
look
you.
that up.
I'm going to tell you why. There's a reason why, and it's not because it historically in Super Bowls it's come out tails more often. That's not why. Statistically, there's a 52% chance that tails is going to come up more than heads. Interestingly enough, because let's face it, in the Super Bowl they don't use a regular coin, right?
Yeah.
They use a commemorative coin. The side that's the heads in the commemorative coin is always slightly heavier than the tails side by a couple ounces. If one side is heavier than the other, statistically speaking, it's going to land face down more often than face up. By about 52 to 48%.
That's great.
This is what I do when I have nothing to do at night. I look up stats like that. No, I actually heard that one. So, if you are dumb enough to play the coin toss, statistically speaking, it comes up tails more often than it comes up heads. That's all I'm going to say about that. All right, so you told me earlier you had 7 prop plays.
I do.
Okay, I also have 7. So you already gave one. Is taking the national anthem one of your 7 or not?
It's not on Barstool.
Okay, so we both have 7. So we'll go one by one, and we will leave whatever one that we're taking as our plus 200 as our 6th prop bet, and the prop that we think has the best chance of happening will be our last prop bet. All right?
What do you want me to do in the case since I have 2 over plus
Well,
200?
I have 4 over plus 200.
All right. so whatever one's the highest.
So, yeah, we'll go we'll go with whatever one, again, you think has the best chance of happening.
Okay.
So, go ahead. Give me one of your prop plays.
Total offensive yards under 799.
Oh, wow. Even though they had almost 1,000 in the first game.
Yes. I told you, there's a lot of incompletions in this game.
I'm writing yours down.
You do that.
Under, I believe it was 799 and a half.
It is.
I believe, yeah. 799 and a half total yards.
Minus 129 odds.
Total yards. And that's actually minus money.
Yes.
I'm shocked.
Over was minus money as well.
Yeah, but not much. Probably like minus 111.
Something like that.
Usually for prop plays, you get a 40-cent vig. So 29-11 makes 40.
I think the Chiefs don't run the ball a whole lot. I think Tampa might run the ball a decent amount. And I don't see many huge completions out of Tampa, so I just don't see the 800 yards.
Well, if the game does stay under, I'd have to favor it being less than 800 yards. My first prop play, and I mentioned this earlier, that I have this. I have the first score of the game will be with less than 9 minutes to play in the first quarter. So that means they got to play the first 6 minutes of the game with no score. Again, I'm having a 62% chance that Tampa gets the ball first. If that happens, if they score, I think they're going to try to slow the game down in the first half. And then the second half, we'll see what happens. So, with that being said, and knowing Tom Brady's history in the Super Bowl, I will take that the first score of the game will be after the 9-minute mark. And that's, by the way, plus 115. So, the other way is actually minus money. All right, so that's my first one. Your second one.
Largest lead of the game under 14.5. Since I have the under, I just don't see anybody getting out to that big of a lead.
Okay.
I think that I could see Kansas City getting to a 10 early, like I said. But then they're going to kind of stall out, and it might become like 14-10, and then go from there.
So what are the odds on that?
Plus 101.
Plus 101. So basically even money.
Pretty much.
All right. My second prop play, and I kind of made reference to this one too earlier. I think the highest scoring half is going to be the second half of the game. Again, I got history on my side. Super Bowl history, especially the last 11 years. You've gotten more points in the second half than you have the first half. And I think you're getting really good odds on this. Believe it or not, first half scoring more points is actually... they're both minus money, but first half is like minus 128. Second half is minus 112. So I'm taking that there will be more points scored in the second half than the first half. By the way, if it's tied, you lose. Because I could have picked it to tie as well. At like plus 425. Okay. Your third prop.
Total sacks over 4.5.
Ooh, you're taking the over in that game, which actually that makes sense. It's not like Tom Brady could move.
That's one reason. As I said, I think there's going to be potentially upwards of 90 pass attempts in this game. More. Tampa, as you said, both of Kansas City's tackles are out. And Tampa Bay has 3 guys over 8 sacks this season. That's just in the regular season. Okay. I could go through postseason.
No, that's fine.
Guy at 3, guy at 2.
Is this plus or minus money?
Plus 120. I think Tampa Bay gets at least 3. I think they could even cover that by themselves.
Okay.
And then, as you said, Tom Brady can't really move.
Yeah.
So I think he's bound to at least get sacked once or twice.
Surprisingly, Mahomes does get sacked more often than he should. Because with his speed and scrambling ability, you would think he would be able to at least get over the line of scrimmage.
Right.
But he surprisingly gets sacked more than he probably should. All right, so that's your third. My third is probably going to be a loser. But I'm getting good odds on it, so I decided to take it. And that's any quarterback to throw a pass after a lateral has happened. So in other words, if there's a flea flicker in the game.
Flea flicker, yeah.
It doesn't have to be completed. Just has to happen. Or one of those, handoff, pass it back. Usually in the Super Bowl, there's kind of a trick play in there somewhere. Hopefully, and I know Tom Brady's, at least when he was with New England, they ran a flea flicker kind of, decent amount of times. So you're getting plus 225 on that. So for a hoot, I put a little bit of money on that. By the way, there is a prop that is really, really surprisingly minus. It's like almost minus 300. And that's will more than 2 people throw a pass in the game. No, will more than 2 people complete a pass in the game. That's like minus 290 the last time I looked at it. If you think more than 2. Now, Tampa Bay, only the quarterback has thrown the ball in the last 2 years. Kansas City had like 3 or 4 plays this year where their quarterback didn't. They ran a punt. Travis Kelce threw a ball once. There was another wide receiver that threw it once. So basically, if you think it's going to be yes, more or less you're hoping for one of the backup quarterbacks to come in or a fake punt, basically.
Pretty much.
All right, your fourth.
Mahomes to have over 28.5 completions.
I think that's probably a good bet.
As I said, I think there's going to be... He might attempt upwards of 45 passes, and I think he'll be bound to complete about 30 of them.
Yes.
So I think that was actually... It's plus 100, by the way.
Plus 100. So even money. Okay. By the way, I didn't play it, but I do like Mahomes' rushing total over... I think it's only 18.5. It's pretty low. I bet that same bet last year, and that was the worst loss I've ever had in Super Bowl prop bet history. I believe, if I remember correctly, it was at 34. And he had 47 yards, and he lost 14 yards on the 3 kneel downs at the end of the game.
Oof.
Because he had to run some time off the clock, like he just couldn't. Normally a kneel down, you hike the ball and you kneel, and it's a 1 yard loss. But he had to scramble a little bit to lose some time, and he ended up on those 3 plays losing 14 yards. And it wound up going under by 1 yard.
I remember that.
Yeah, I was pretty pissed. All right, my next 2, I'm gonna do the next 2.
Okay.
Only because I can't win them both. I could only win one, or I could lose them both. But I think I'm getting really, really good odds on these again. I have the first penalty of the game will be an offside or a neutral zone infraction.
Okay.
I'm getting plus 450 on that. Now, I would certainly like this bet a lot better if the stadium was full. Because it would be noisy a lot. I don't think you would get plus 450, though, if the stadium was full. I also took that the first... By the way, that's the first accepted penalty. Which normally, if you get offsides or encroachment, it's usually accepted unless if they pass the ball down the field and it gets caught. I also took as the first accepted penalty a false start as well at plus 400. So only because I'm getting really good odds. So even if you put $10 on them, if one cashes, you're going to win at least $40.
Yeah.
So to me, I thought it was worth it just to put a little bit of money on it. All right, now you go the next 2.
Well, I only have 3 left.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so first one, either team to have a successful 2-point conversion.
So you like yes? You bet yes or no?
Yes.
Yes, 2-point conversion.
I'm getting plus 230 to do that. And as you said, there's been 5 in the last 11.
Mm-hmm.
And there's been, you said 7 or 8 attempts.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's good odds to at least have an attempt. So, and you got decent money to to play it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So now you have 2 left, right?
Yeah.
So now this one should be the one that's at least plus 200 that you think has the best chance of happening.
All right. So
I would be shocked if we have the same one. That would be really a surprise.
I kind of have my doubts on that. I have Chris Godwin to score and the Bucks win.
I do not have that.
Godwin is probably their best wide receiver.
No, he's not.
Yeah, he could be.
He's their second best.
He's a Penn State player, so he's their best.
To score and Tampa Bay to win. I'm sure you're getting really good odds on that.
Plus 400.
Plus, I would have thought you would have gotten more than that on that. Okay.
No.
All right. You want to say anything else about that?
Actually, I think he was the lowest Tampa
Really?
Bay player.
See, I would have thought Evans would have been the lowest.
I think he'll get the ball thrown to him 10 to 15 times in this game.
Okay.
So I think he's bound to catch something
Okay.
in the end zone.
Still no comments. I'm very disappointed at the people watching tonight that you're not commenting. All right. So my bet that's plus 200 or more that I think has the best chance of happening. And when I saw this, I was shocked that it was plus 220. When I first read it, I'm like, well, this is going to be, there's a better chance of it happening than not happening. But it happening is plus 220. And that's, there will be more than 1.5 coaches' challenges in the game. So if that red flag flies out on the field more than once, it doesn't say successful coaches challenge, then I wouldn't have played it if it was a successful coaches challenge. It says total number of coaches challenging, including overtime. Now, coaches can't challenge in overtime, so I don't know why they put overtime there. But be that as it may, total number of coaches challenges over 1.5 at plus 220. So, that is my long shot that I think has the best chance of winning. And now this is going to be your prop that you think has the best chance of cashing.
All right. This one, I have total penalty yards over 99.5.
Wow, we are actually very close on our bet. I didn't play that, but I'm very close to it.
I have that simple defensive stats here. Tampa Bay had 95 penalties this year for 1,015 yards.
Mm-hmm.
Kansas City had 97 penalties for 760.
Mm-hmm.
But Tampa Bay had 2 less defensive penalties for 255 more yards.
So, more pass interference.
And Mahomes is going to throw the ball a lot.
Okay.
So there's bound to be at least 2 pass interferences. There have to be upwards of 60, 70 yards.
Okay. And
right there.
What odds are you getting on this?
Minus 112.
Minus 112. Okay.
So just a little worse than money line.
Interestingly, of course, I just got logged out, so I got to log back in. Interestingly, my play that I think is going to happen also has to do with penalties. I'm shocked that we're both doing penalties as our best prop play. Now, we could both win, but you have over 99.5 and I have under something. I have total number of accepted penalties under 10.5. Now, I know that goes against what they did the first game. There was 18 accepted penalties the first time they played. But Super Bowls, usually the refs let them play a little more, especially in the first half. So, the typical Super Bowl average in the last, I think it's 18 Super Bowls, is 6.8 penalties, if I remember correctly. So, all I need is less than 10. And that is minus 137. So we could both still win. You know, there could be 8 penalties for 112 yards. if you get a lot of, you get a couple long pass interference calls. So that could happen. All right, so that is what we think is going to happen. To recap, you like Tampa Bay to win the game outright and to stay under the total.
I have it under by 10.
I like Tampa Bay outright, but for it to go over the total, and I have them going over by 10. Actually, I have it going over by 12. I said 35-33. You said 24-22.
Mm-hmm.
So, that is our show for tonight. I kept you guys here an awfully long time. I did not think this would have taken us an hour and 20 minutes. Anybody have any predictions that they want to say? I'm, again, very disappointed. Our average watch time tonight is 45 minutes, so most of you have stayed here most of the time, and I can't get any of you to comment. I thought this would have been our most commented show. Because whenever I post my Super Bowl predictions on our Facebook page, I always get tons of comments on what I think is going to happen. But no one wants to comment here. All right, so Tuesday night, when we do our next show, barring there's another snowstorm, not another snowstorm. I apologize for us not doing a show Tuesday. I was still outside trying to dig out at 7 o'clock Tuesday night after our 20-some inches of snow that we got here. So that wasn't fun at all.
Probably not.
My whole body was sore yesterday in the morning. I'm getting old. I said to the non-genetically proven son, I said, with you not here anymore, I now have to get a snowblower. So I ordered a snowblower.
An electric one.
Yes.
Because you refuse to get anything gas related.
A larger electric one, not a small electric one. It's like 21-inch radius. It still throws up to 500 pounds of snow a minute. So
yeah,
it's a stronger electric one. No, and you're right. I do not like getting gas-powered anything. I have a lot of electric.
Except the car.
What? Except the car. Yeah.
Except the car.
Except the car.
You don't have your Tesla yet.
Thankfully not. All right. Any closing words by you, non-genetically proven son?
No.
No?
Got nothing.
Okay. Sorry to hear that.
The Canadians need to do better in hockey is what is really... And the Capitals.
The Canadians need to do better in hockey. And the Capitals. Okay.
Yeah, because I have a parlay with them.
Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is our show for tonight. We will see you Tuesday. If you are not doing anything Sunday afternoon and you really like sports or you like my voice, which I don't see why you would, I'm on another YouTube channel. It's called the Pennsylvania Junior Bowlers Tour. You could just look up PJBT on YouTube. We have tournaments nearly every weekend, and we live stream the finals. And usually, hello, Kiana. How did you get me my brownie? Usually, on Super Bowl day, we're usually done with the live stream by like 5:45. So if you're not doing anything Sunday, watch our PJBT channel. We probably will go live somewhere around like 4 o'clock, and around there. And we'll see who's going to win on the gold pins. So.
I'll probably be drunk.
Okay. Obviously you'll not be bowling.
No.
No. Okay. Thankfully, they were earlier in the week calling for another snowstorm Sunday, but that kind of went away. It's going to get very cold, though. Very cold.
It's always cold here.
No, it's going to get cold. Like,
it's always windy. It's always freezing.
Well, you're going to have wind chills like way below 0 next week.
Oh, that's great.
So, well, your apartment's hot.
I sleep with the window open. What are you talking about?
Well, you may not next week.
Sure.
We'll see. All right, so until Tuesday when we return with the world of politics, remember as always, where we go one,
we go all.
See you Tuesday, ladies and gentlemen.